This is the Lost Boy Creations podcast. Podcast about nothing.
But even nothing is something.
Music? Definitely. Sports? You got it. Key West? For sure. Get lost. Podcast with friends.
Justin Great. And I've been playing golf and messing around and having
the phones are. Everybody wants this fancy shit, dude.
They're as good as they get. I mean,
don't
honestly,
mess with it.
And what we're figuring out now, like it's taking us a little while to like figure out the transfer, like the data transfer, to make sure we don't lose quality.
Yeah.
It's a little different. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
I'm glad you made it.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm sorry I'm late.
No doubt, dude. Absolutely.
Hate being late. Football days got me jacked up. Yeah, the biggest thing with the pods. Are we rolling here? Are we live?
Dude, we're just going.
The biggest thing with the pods is like, obviously I've been in that business and done a ton of that. It's like people want to like, they think it's this whole high-end thing and these mics and these cameras and it's.
Yeah.
And Joe, we're doing what we did with you guys with Parrot and all. It's a little bit different.
Well, I've got some questions about that anyways. Do you want to knock that down like one notch there?
But you don't need any more than a mic and your phone to get started until you get to a ridiculous level. And then your fans expect the same. And then you go to a different quality and it's overproduced. And
yeah. Well, I've got to say there's a couple things that made me really happy when we were like about to get into this. And it's like, I called you because I was kind of freaking out in a weird way. I was like, man, we did our first episode the other day, and I was cussing like a sailor because it's just who I am. Yep. And I was like, you've been doing this for a while. Yep. I had this kind of moment of, shit, should I put this out to the public? Because it's, there's people that might not like it. People are. But you gave me the best advice. Like, just be true to yourself. This is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, so we are. But you've been doing it now for, how long have you been doing it?
Man, so... I tell this story all the time, like, and it pays dividends. You don't even know off of it, but essentially, my dad, he got in, got out of the business world and was, partially retired, and he works now still. But this was when I was in high school, and he was like, "Hey, we listen to Mike and Mike in the morning on the way."
I remember that show.
Yeah,
absolutely,
great show.
Yeah,
and you're a Northeast guy, so you definitely appreciated it. And we listen to Mike and Mike in the morning, and he's like, "Listen to how they articulate, listen to how they talk, listen to how they do, everything." And it's like, okay. He's like, when you play in the NFL, because it was always talked about in my house when I was 10 years old, we talked about it.
I actually was curious about that. I'll dive into that.
We'll unpack that too. So when you play, and you can do this as a side career, and it could be another thing when you're done playing, and you can have avenues to go down. And then fast forward, like crazy life happened. So that's when I was 14, 15.
Yeah.
And I went down that, just like in football, like head first in the media company, Sirius XM show, all this stuff. I'm getting into coaching now and pivoting out of media. Still going to do it, but getting into coaching.
You getting into coaching?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, now you got a young Thompson underneath you, so you got to be ready to show them the
baby
ropes.
Girl, Reese Caroline.
Yeah. Are you looking for a second?
Yeah.
Perhaps down the road.
We're focused on one right now for sure.
I mean, it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to learn.
But it's been a great trip to Key West. On a side note, again, another sidebar.
Yeah.
Like people say this town's like an adult town, and it is for sure. We've had plenty of adult good nights in town, you and I together, from onesie to whatever. But I'll tell you what, like I grew up coming here, and we can unpack that, as a kid when I was 3 years old, and been coming ever since, once a year, plus one point in time we were here 4 months a year. And I learned a lot. If you have great parents, they can tell you how to navigate, but neither here nor there. So started with media, and then fast forward, I'm getting into coaching. Like that was when I was, like I said, 14, 15, and then I'm 31 now, and I'm getting into coaching, and I'm at the Senior Bowl. I'm going to the Senior Bowl, which is college. I was already there. It's last week.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah, it's huge networking. So I shoot a text to Jim Nagy, who puts the Senior Bowl on. I'm like, hey, Jim, you don't know me from Adam, but my name's Colin Thompson. I'm getting into coaching, and I want to get down there and network. Is there any way I can get a credential? If not, I'll pay my way, whatever you need. I just want to get in, because there's like a fan side, a media side, and then there's like a coach's scouting front office side. So you don't like intermingle the fans and like John Lynch and Brian Dayball and like all these people, right?
Some big boys there.
It was big boys.
That's
Mike Vrabel, Dan Morgan, and you're able to just buddy up. All the people from NFL Network I'm having drinks with. Just like,
sick.
It's a cool.
Well, it's got to be awesome too, because you've had a lot of like that realm of people on the podcast too, which is awesome. And that's, I mean, we met through just like kind of the shop and just Key West, because you're here all the time. As you said, you've been coming forever.
No doubt.
But I think that was like one of the first like real interactions we had was on the podcast. I have done your podcast twice, so this is really cool to have you.
Cheers,
to have you on to
it's
our
an
first
honor.
one.
It's
Thanks,
an honor.
Man.
Cheers to that.
It's been crazy, and
but I'll finish the story though. Let me put a bow on it.
Yeah.
Because what happened was, like, my dad's like, hey, go at this media thing full bore. It's easy, little parallel to your playing career. And then I've done life in football and just retired and done life in media. And literally I hit up Jim Nagy of the Senior Bowl and I was like, hey, I'm coming down. You don't know me from Adam. He's like, oh, I know who you are. I listen to your Sirius XM show. You do a great job. So you never know who's listening. You never know who's watching. And that ties back into what we were talking about. Be authentic. Because when I met him, he was like, dude, I love your show. You're just raw and having fun and you're yourself. And in this media world, everyone's trying to like be this person or be, you know, Spitting Chicklets or be Joe Rogan or be whomever.
We're totally trying to be Joe Rogan. You know, you can see it right now.
But that's fine. But it's Joe is such an innovator in so many different things. And he, whether people love him or hate him, and that's the world we live in, people choose sides. He's fantastic.
Well, it's just like everybody said. The highest form of flattery is impersonation. We see it with the hats all the time. People putting the flag on the side of their hats.
Yeah, it's great. You see them all around town now, and I think of you guys, and I'm like, it's great. But by the way, Hold Up, great band. By the way, they're playing right now. This is a side note.
Where are they playing?
They're playing right now. This is this band.
Oh, yeah.
The Hold Up. This guy went completely rogue. I'm all over the place.
Revolution.
No, this is Hold Up.
Wait, it sounded like Eric Rachmani.
Yeah, it's the Hold Up. This guy is a one-off. Like, he's good. He actually,
really?
It is him. Yeah.
I gotta check it out. I thought it was Eric Rachmani, maybe with Unified Highway. He's like, so the lead singer of Revolution does a sidekick Unified Highway, and
he does
fucking awesome.
And he does a whole acoustic tour too. We're off the rails, way off the rails here.
No, we are off. That's
I'll
what
get
this
it back.
is, dude.
But
this
happens a couple of drinks. I never do a podcast after a couple of drinks, and here we are. But
this is what the rails are, though.
No doubt.
As me and Justin talked about. So also addressing my first thing, I was going to say, I was so nervous about, I rewatched and edited our first episode, and I was like, man,
Why'd you
obviously,
edit it? Why didn't you just post it?
Well, no, I edited like when
for
camera one, camera two, between the two of us, and I'd had to think about it for a second. I was like, shit, this is a little bit different than. I mean, we always joke that we're counterculture Key West. Like, we're definitely not the Margaritaville rainbows, dolphins, and sunsets.
No. But that's what you're probably more real Key West than Margaritaville's.
For sure. Well, especially presently, like, yeah, I get that, but definitely wanted to be
even the last 20 years.
Yeah, maybe. But we wanted to be careful. I mean, at least my business mindset was like, man, I maybe, and it's my fault. I cuss like a sailor. It's just who I am.
No, you got to be authentic in this media world. This is where I was. Now you bring it up. Where I was going with it previously, like from playing, I never said anything worse than shit. That was my limit, because
that's an interesting thing.
That was where I drew the line. Just because as a player, it's a different era. These guys playing now, everyone's got a podcast. Yeah. I was the first NFL guy, at least I remember being in 2017 having a podcast. My agents are like, "You're crazy. What is a podcast?"
17 is when you started.
17.
Wow.
Yeah. I was with the Giants and had an emergency appendectomy and got cut. And they're like, hey, it's non-football related. So if you get cut in football and you're hurt, they give you an injury settlement. It could be a couple $100,000. So if you watch the last preseason game, a lot of guys are running down there, like putting their head down, trying to get hurt because they're going to get an injury settlement. I'm not saying that happens. It may or may not. I've never done it individually because I want to make the roster. But for guys that aren't going to make the roster, I've heard guys say, I'm trying to get hurt today.
All right. So because I want to hit this in a second.
There's a lot of juicy stuff.
I got to address one thing before we start, just going back to last week. Mm-hmm. For anybody that's watching, we're idiots talking about things we know nothing about, but we love doing it.
Yeah.
And if that's what you're here for, great. So any misinformation that somebody might hear on here, it's us being
He's
dumb.
Already falling into the media world, and like three people said, don't say that.
That's it. Well, I misquoted myself yesterday. I was like, yeah, the Browns are in the playoffs this year. And I'm like, no, that was last year. I was like, they actually did worse than the Jets this year.
Three wins, and Myles Garrett's trying to
exactly.
Yeah,
but I was editing it. I'm like, oh man, I sound like a fucking idiot.
You gotta let it rip.
Oh, of course, I don't care. It's what it is. This is entertainment.
If people are coming to you for SportsCenter,
they're wrong in the first place. Yeah. Unless you want to talk about fly fishing or golf, then you're screwed anyways.
That's it. Yeah.
But that was a funny thing, with Super Bowl coming up. I watched, a bunch of the media day with all those boys, and this is a weird one because we touched on it last year about how my feelings were about the Chiefs and the Super Bowl and getting these calls and whatever. Mm-hmm. I was gonna ask you because you were like, oh yeah, I've only said shit in in press conferences or on the podcast or whatever else, and like kind of minding your P's and Q's.
I wasn't good enough. They never interviewed me after the game.
Well, whatever.
I got one. I had one. I scored. I got interviewed. It was virtual.
One touchdown.
It was a virtual. It sucked.
Whatever.
It was like, man.
Hey, you can say more than most people can.
No doubt. But it was not that it was a selfish thing. It was like no one in the stands, virtual press conference.
Weird year.
Not that I was like wanted to. It sounds selfish, but it was like a weird. We like had to take turns showering in groups. It was like this
sounds so weird.
Yeah, I know it sounds weird.
So weird.
But when you're in the locker room and all, you don't really care.
No,
it's
of course.
a different thing. Yeah.
But before we go any further, I gotta like set the precedent. So you played tight end. Football's been your life. I want to set a little precedence of who you are for anybody who doesn't know who you are.
Yeah, forever.
So you've been playing football since you were a kid, and that was the dream.
Watching it, feeling it.
You got drafted when?
I didn't get drafted. I went undrafted, which half the NFL is undrafted, which people don't understand.
Figured.
2017. Yep.
That was your first.
And that's how I transitioned into the podcast world. Just to tie that story up. Got hurt the next day. Woke up after our first preseason game. Emergency appendectomy. I'm rolling around a CVS in New York City on all fours because we stayed the night in New York City after the game because I had family in town.
Yeah.
And my wife's like giving me laxatives and all. Like she's a beast. That's when we were dating at the time. Running around the city trying. I'm literally on all fours, like dying. And the Giants took care of me, surgery, the whole nine. The team doctor came in, had like a mustard stain on his shirt. He's like, "Hey man, I was at lunch with my wife. I'm sorry I'm late." And he did the surgery. So then they cut me 48 hours later, non-football related. And then they're like, "Hey, you're done. Sorry, we're going to bring you back in a couple of weeks when you heal." Well, they never brought me back. And then I was 8 weeks to week 8, more than that. So 12 weeks technically. It was beginning of training camp. So like 3 months I was at home. And I was back at Temple lifting, training, running. And the guy who did the play-by-play for Temple football on the radio broke his ankle. And they needed someone to fill in. So I begged the AD, who's now the AD at Penn State, Pat Kraft. And he's like, absolutely no experience. He's like, got it. You got the job. Now it's $100 a week or whatever it was. Travel with the team.
Foot in the door, man.
And then I would work out at Temple, take the train down every day from Philly, from Bucks County, where I grew up in Doylestown. And
from Bucks County.
Yeah, shout out. D-Town. Where are you from?
CB West.
No way. Dude, my buddy just got hired. He's the offensive coordinator of the Jaguars. He's a CB West kid. Grant Udinsky.
That's
How old
cool.
are you?
I was in school with Grant.
No way.
Weird.
So what are you, 32?
29.
You're younger than me?
He's a young gun. Our Jamie of the Joe Rogan podcast.
So we know, we know.
He's
Did
the
you
young
know?
gun.
Do we know each other before?
Oh, no.
Where'd you grow up in Doylestown?
Ferry Road. Ferry and Cali.
No shit. So I live in a couple different places. My mom has retail stores in Peddler's Village, and then I went to Archbishop Wood though. So for football, yeah. So we'll talk. We don't
it's crazy. So like, but Temple, and then
Temple
you
undrafted
first
at
year
Giants.
You went down.
Yeah, really started University of Florida.
Yep.
So the bullet point story is this. If I'll get to that, it's undrafted. Let me back this up. High school, private Catholic school, for football, but ended up the culture was amazing. Like changed my life, and then was the number 1 tight end in the country, first team All-American. Everything was great. Had 30 offers. Talked to Nick Saban on the phone. Wow. Top 5 was Wisconsin, BC. Ryan Day recruited me from BC.
Sick.
Was sick, and Ryan's awesome.
That's the only football team I have any knowledge about because being in the Northeast, there was nobody.
That team was good. Then it was like Costanzo, BJ Raji, Matt Ryan, Mark Herzlich, Luke Kuechly. It was like a legit. Yeah. It wasn't, and they're good now, but they've always been solid.
At the time, that was right post ACC like integration. That was the first.
They had some guys. They weren't. The Northeast they weren't recruiting guys from the South wasn't coming up to recruit guys out of it. Now you get recruits from everywhere. Yeah. So had all these offers. Life was good. Wisconsin, Stanford, you name it, everyone. And Florida had like no tight ends. So I was like, I'm going there, and it was beautiful. I mean, of course, University of Florida.
Look where you are now.
Yeah, met my wife there, changed my life, and all our friends, everything, and then to be able to come back and forth from Key West to being a Gator, and that was really fun. And so did that. So Florida, then I went to Florida, played 2 years there, got medically disqualified, broke my right foot twice, broke my left foot. They said, hey, your career's over. You should never play football again.
You're too stubborn.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm out of there. So I went and met with this specialist who's like the best, Dr. Robert Anderson. He was in Charlotte at the time, Green Bay. Now he's back in Charlotte. And he's like, you should play. You'll be fine. Just take 6 months off. So I took 6 months off and then came back and Matt Rule and Temple were the only team to offer me after I had 30 offers. So I'm talking rock bottom. Like, so I tell the story in the beginning, like All-American, all the stuff, to paint the picture of the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Like, your career is over.
Oh, shit.
The place you chose is like, hey, you're done. You should never play football again. You can't walk around with your kids. You can't play sports, can't coach, all this stuff. Because I was like, I'll just go play baseball in Florida or football and just walk on and shag fly ball.
Easy for you to say, bro. You're just like, yeah, I'll hop on there.
Well, I wouldn't have played. No, I would definitely not run track. So, long story short, I bounced from Florida to Temple. Temple was incredible. Then we won a bunch of games, and it was beat Penn State for the first time in 75 years.
Wow.
Like, crazy. Like,
everyone. That's got to be a rush, man.
Wow. The stadium was packed. Philly is such a pro sports town to go like win there and in a big city. Like, it was sick. We were king shit, and not in a king shit in like a leather varsity jacket way, but just like in a Philly way.
You're king shit in a big town, big sports town.
It was cool. People at Temple never cared in Philly, and
it's like there. Villanova winning NCAA or like the NBA or NCAA championship and stuff like that's. It doesn't happen often. When it happens, like you are. It
was sick.
You're big man, dude.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So the bullet point version, I'll kind of blow through it here. So then Giants, cup of coffee there. I was with the Bears. I got there week 8. For those watching, Zach Miller, he blew his knee out. Brian Miller know this. He blew his knee out and like almost lost his leg. And they brought a bunch of tight ends in for a tryout. I won the tryout. I was there for a year. John Fox, Matt Nagy. The day they traded for Khalil Mack was the day I got cut. End of training camp. I was out of football, played in the AAF. I was running media marketing, working for a finance company, doing radio at Temple still, now in my second year. And then, where was I at there? Okay, then the AAF, a guy that recruited me from the University of Florida got a job working for the Birmingham Iron in minor league football. He brought me in there. Trent Richardson was our running back, lived in Birmingham, which was a unique, fun city.
That's pretty wild.
It was an interesting city for sure. I get to I just would rent a car and just go check out University of Alabama and just drive around because I was like, I'm not going to go out. I got to keep it straight and narrow and train and grind.
Well, you got to see everything that's going around.
Yeah, I want to check it out. Never done it. So I would go visit my wife in Destin a lot. They have a place there. Keep moving down the track, Guy that was in Birmingham, we grew close. He went to the XFL and was at Tampa Bay Vipers. I signed with Tampa Bay Vipers. They drafted me in the XFL draft while I was coaching 8th grade football in Cape May, New Jersey, doing radio at Temple, doing radio in Philly, just grinding, training, I forgot about all this stuff. And then moved forward, signed in Tampa, played well there. And then my college coach, Matt Rule, left Baylor, went to Carolina Panthers. I asked him later, because when I signed everywhere, I'd always ask the staff, why am I here? You kind of just assume I'm here because I'm good, but no, why am I here?
Somebody said something. Somebody saw something in you at some point.
Correct. And then
made it work.
The NFL works like this. If a lot of guys raise their hand and vouch for you, you go there. And the reason why I didn't make it other places is because 1 or 2 guys would. And the other guy's like, I don't know him from Adam. And you wouldn't be given enough time to prove yourself, which is fine. It's how it goes. When you're undrafted, they have no financial investment in you. I signed a $2 million deal with the Giants when I came out. My signing bonus was $4,500. That's all I got out of it. Out of the $2 million, because when I got cut, it's over.
Done.
It's done. It's not baseball. It's not football.
Wow, that's crazy.
So keep it moving. Birmingham Iron, Tampa Bay Vipers. Tampa was sick. Loved my time there.
Well, we've had some fun I was going to say. We linked up in Tampa for Reggae Rise Up last year.
That was great.
And you were telling me that's where you were for a while because you were around in that spot. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I
loved it. And I was under the impression in these minor leagues, I was like, this is not enough money to save, so let's send it and let's spend
go for it. Have fun.
So we ripped
You were also, 21?
No, I was 23. Yeah, 23.
Okay, yeah, big difference.
24.
Big difference. Yeah, you're young 20s.
No, I was on this side of 25, 26. I was still grinding.
You're still.
I was the older statesman amongst the young kids in the XFL.
Well,
and I'm like,
once
get in the Uber, we're going to Clearwater. And I would pack them in. We'd go to downtown Tampa, party down there, come back. Next night, we had a night off. I'd be like, okay, we're going to Publix, get a pub sub, get a styrofoam cooler, fill it up with beer and ice. They're like, why is styrofoam? Let's get the regular. I said, no, because when we're done, we want a bar hop. We can trash the styrofoam cooler.
Seasoned veteran both sports and in life at that point.
Yeah, so I like to have beers and have a good time. That's why we're here.
Well, probably how we met at some point, one way or another. Probably through onesie bar crawl or whatnot.
Yeah, that's probably what we met. Yeah. And we'll get to that in a sec. I'll finish this and we can talk about everything. But so then Matt Rule signs. He breaks down all his former players. Supposedly this is what happened. Guy's like, hey, listen, I graded all this Matt's former players at Baylor and Temple and everywhere he's been. And you were available and one of the higher graded guys, so we signed you. So I earned my way onto the roster there. 3 years in Carolina was incredible. That's where we met, bulk of my career, my best pro career years. And then Vikings for training camp, which was awesome, first-class organization. And then, retired and moved on. So, been a great run.
Well, it's really cool that you
fun.
get a lot of those guys, especially from Carolina, that you clearly made an impression with to come down and do the camp.
Yeah, and they were at the camp this week because they want to fish now. That's the new thing.
Oh, yeah, they got the tournament going now.
They got the hook, yeah. So we have a Buffet Bowl that I put on. It started with my bachelor party. It was like 3 boats that went out and a couple other guys. And it was like 25 of us. And as a kid, my family was blessed. We'd come down here and go visit my Uncle Steve, who owns Shots and Giggles now. And him and his wife used to bartend and operate Half Shell.
Cool.
And Half Shell's really heyday. And we would go fishing in the morning and take the fresh catch and go have lunch there and play shuffleboard with my dad.
So they just want to fish now.
Yeah. So now we do that for my bachelor party. We fish in the morning, take a break, happy hour. We don't take a break. We go to Dante's. But happy.
That is not a break, my
This year
friend.
I'll take a break and go home, see the baby. Yeah. But and then we do shuffleboard. There'll be pickleball pair with it this year.
Cool.
And all the scores added up, and it's like cash prize, gift cards from all over town, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, the football camp is so awesome for here too. Like it's such a cool thing. I'm happy I get to be part of it. Happy that you think of me to be part of it.
You guys are a huge part of it, man. Like this, the hats and everybody wearing them, and it's.
So how did you figure that out? Well, how did that start? For you, because it's such a cool thing to bring in the youth of Key West, which is at the end of the day, it's a pretty small city. I mean, 25,000 people roughly, give or take.
Yeah, it's ignored. And it's definitely ignored, right?
It's definitely a baseball town from years past. Yeah. But you got a lot of young kids that are super talented athletes. And then they have this opportunity to go play and get coached by NFL players. And how did that come about? Because that's such a wild thing. Yeah,
so I always wanted to do a camp, and I started coaching in Cape May, and I'm like, wow, they need me. They need the resources that I'm providing here in southernmost point of New Jersey. Very similar ties to Cape May, similar town. A lot of people come in between them. My family does, and several people do. They need this more than where we're from, a lot more. But Central Bucks West and Archbishop Wood, they don't need. They do. They need support, but plenty of coaches, plenty of good youth programs. But these towns need the help. There's no one that comes in.
Or the end of the road.
It's end of road.
Yeah.
So I would come down here with my buddies, and we'd partying and ripping it up, and
I've seen it.
You've seen it.
I've seen it.
Yeah, and they're coming this weekend, so it's going to be
it's going to be awesome.
The town's going to be tilting a little bit, but
but physically tilting because they're all fucking giant.
They're huge.
We
got a couple more guys, a couple offensive linemen.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So long story short, I was like, let's put a camp on. It can't be that hard. And every year it's gotten better. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit, we didn't do a liability waiver here. Okay, great. Maybe we should have done that. We didn't do this here. Okay, maybe we should create an account. I was paying for it out of pocket just to support it. It was like a couple grand. I'm like, whatever, I'll donate it. But I didn't I was just trying to wing it. Yeah. And then, okay, let's get some. Now this year we have, we're dialed in. Shirts, hats. You guys are amazing. We have Jersey Mike's helped us out huge, crazy, more than 50% off that feed the kids. City of Key West donates a field for free. The mounted police,
cool.
KWPD comes out with the mounted police, and the kids pet the horses, and we establish a relationship with them.
How weird is that, by the way? We live in Key West, in the middle of the Caribbean, in a city, and every single day I am sitting here and I watch 2 mounted police officers walk by. I'm like, where do I live again?
Key West.
It's
nutty
place,
man.
It's so
that's why
bizarre.
I love it. Right through these walls, there's a vibrator races going on.
Yeah. It's Thursday night too. Yeah.
Thursday,
yeah. There's literally vibrator races going on.
We would go every week when we were in town to start. When it started, so we love this town, and I wanted to give back to it and do something different and be impactful. And it's easy. It's only 2 hours. The kids are ready to roll at the end of it. We tire them out, run them around like crazy, and to give back, truly give back.
Yeah.
Feed the kids. We pour every dollar into the kids. Everything goes into them, shirts and hats, and it's above and beyond. And we have great sponsors, great donors. USA Football gets involved.
One of our friends who worked for me, Jacob, he worked in the shop, and he was in doing that, and it made a huge impression on him.
Huge.
Not to mention that now he helps out with it. Like that's such a cool thing because I feel like it's year after year. It's not.
You don't know the impact till 20 years from now.
Yeah.
So now what I decided, I said, we need pictures of this. Well, how do we do this? Okay, beginning of camp picture. The problem is kids come a little late, but if you come late, and they're all late, they're playing, I'm coming from basketball, I'm sorry. I'm like, no one should ever say sorry today.
No.
Whatever
it's fun.
It's fun. And we have like usually 30 leftover lunches. I'm like pumping kids with food, like take 2, 3, 4 home.
Yeah.
So, it's great. So we take a picture of the beginning of camp, and then I send them to whatever, local Walgreens or whatever, and the guys pick up the Jersey Mike subs fresh. They stop and pick up, Walgreens. Shout out to Tommy Keene, who's a Shots and Giggles local. Shout out to Lance Huffer, who's a retired Coast Guard. They pick it up for me every year.
Cool.
And they swing back with the pictures. I sign the pictures for the kids and give it to them. And they put them on their desk. They may throw them out. Who knows? But it has huge impact. I think we'll know 10 years from now.
For sure.
Like there'll be 4 kids that'll be like, hey, I was at your camp. I started playing football. Thank you.
I think the football program, 7 years I've been here, the football program has grown immensely in the time that I've been here.
It's not because of me.
In general, in general. But those impacts, they
have
resonate,
a couple good kids. I saw kids going to Florida State.
Yep, I saw that too. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I've never really been in an area where we got students going to big football schools. Rarely you get somebody going to a good basketball college, but that was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing, with you being down here as much, you linked up with Joe, who was our videographer for Rockin' the Shop, and you guys have been killing it. We linked up in Tampa when you were doing your podcast and got everything moving. And now Joe, our videographer, who's back in Jersey full time, he's doing it.
He's the best. Joe is perfect for me to work with.
Well, tell me a little bit more about what you guys started doing, because you did the Colin Thompson show, which I was on a couple times.
That was old school, Zoom.
Well, almost 1 year ago exactly, where we talked Super Bowl predictions.
That was here.
Right here.
But you were old school before that.
Yeah.
I think you were on before that. We were in the shop.
Oh, yeah.
Hats on.
Yep.
And we were just talking from a I think I DM'd you.
Mm-hmm.
That blue check has done wonders for me. And not for you're a celebrity.
Well, I think we knew each other at that point.
Maybe, but I remember, I'm going to look back. You know what? Let's do it now.
Look at that.
I think I DM'd you back in the day. That's
I'll say Sean over here, young Jamie. He's got the computer ready to pull it up. I don't know if we'll be able to find that one. That's on Instagram. I don't think we've seen that one.
I'll find it.
I think we might have known each other, but it was very in the beginning of our friendship of
Yeah. So February 13th, 2020, you said, didn't know you were an angler, man. Let's get out and fish before you take off.
That was after you
did
your
we knew each
bachelor
other.
party, probably.
Yeah. Let's swing the sticks, play some golf. Let's come on the pod. Here's my email. Yeah, so you started it. Congrats to you. Or that's like an asshole.
I'll take that all day.
Props to you.
I'll take that all day, man. It means I'm grinding. I'm trying to figure out how we got to keep this thing moving.
Sound horrible. Let's edit that out.
No, there's nothing in there here. Like I said, if I were doing that, I would edit out about 50% of the cuss words I said last week.
Yeah, keep it natural. But
I told somebody about how I served a deaf girl and made fun of her and didn't know. I felt so bad afterwards. I'm like, man, should I air this? I'm like, it was just. You'll have to see. You'll have to
stay tuned, everybody.
You'll have to listen.
I felt terrible. No, but that's how we connected. Where were we going with the story, though?
Just how you and Joe got linked up and how you guys are doing this whole thing.
So I've always had passion for a couple things, but primarily it was food, drinks, and football. And it sounds funny, and it's drinking, but really it's about culture, community, what we're doing. And it started there's a great walk and talk that I do before we do the Half Shell Raw Bar episode. And it's walking down Caroline Street. And right over here, my parents used to own a condo in Truman Annex. And my dad would, we'd go fishing in the morning. He'd put me down for a 2-hour nap. And then, I'd wake up and he'd be like, I'm like, Dad, it's time for happy hour. Well, I loved happy hour because I was the star of the show.
Of course.
It was.
You get your popcorn and parrot.
Yeah.
You get to hang out, watch some good music.
We get popcorn, you get a beer. Then we walk down the street. We go to Caroline Street and then go to Half Shell. That was back in the Half Shell heyday. 10 deep at the bar, you couldn't move. And I would always have a bar stool. The server would kick a local out who's drunk or whatever and say, Colin, seat. They would give me a pitcher of root beer, oysters, and it'd just be a party. And they would, on their break, they would pull out, and my Uncle Steve, who owned Shots and Giggles, would pull a half deflated football underneath his Jeep out and rip the football to me in the parking lot. I'd be catching the ball. And So that's like
cool.
Yeah, so it's like old
Core memories.
Core memories. That was a oyster shell parking lot at the time. To go way back.
Yeah.
So it was a core memory of like football and then like friends and family and
In Key West.
Key West. So Food Drink Football started, and I created a little foodstagram about it, you know, for like whatever it was, 5-6 years ago, when everyone was creating like foodstagrams and posting their food, you know.
Well, you did like Sam Boners.
And then that was separate, and then the same owner started and kind of was interesting, and it was a great little chapter for us at our media company. And Mick does a great job there, and he's awesome, and their brand is awesome. And I was doing that, and then I was like, okay, you know, that's Mick's brand. I've always wanted to do Food Drinks Football. It's not the same as Sam Boners at all. It's more of stories and conversations, and Sam Boners is off the cuff and passion, and it's awesome. But for me, I was like, I want to know the bartenders. I want to know the servers. I want to know the community members. So we said, okay, let's just go to these bars and restaurants. I have the access. Okay, let's go to the Parrot. Let's stop in Lost Boys. Let's film me doing that.
It was really cool because
Yeah.
I still to this day, I'm so pumped. I'm like, I got filmed the same day as Pat Croce.
You did.
Owner
That's a big episode.
76ers.
That's like 60,000 views or 70,000
Really?
views.
Shit.
Big.
That's cool.
Half Shell was big. We did First Legal Rum, which is awesome. Paul Menta is the coolest guy. What a legend Paul is. And then we did Shots and Giggles. And then we've done Los Gringos in Tampa, which I think is the best Cuban coffee breakfast place I've ever been to. Even better than ones down here. Sorry.
Damn, really?
Yes. It's elite. It's elite. It's like 4 blocks.
Did you ever go do Beer Boutique up in St. Pete?
You told me about this.
Yeah.
No, we couldn't. And I was going to come with you guys the one night. And I was like, this is dangerous.
We got to go do that sometime. Because
we were doing spring training and
yeah, that's a tough one for sure.
yeah, it would have been a lot because I was staying in downtown Tampa to Uber, and it would have been a lot.
But they're awesome. They're friends of ours from down here
West,
that opened that spot up. And I mean, shout out to them. They've been killing it. That was like the highlight of our time up in St. Pete.
Yeah.
We were a block away, and we had our favorite burger spot from Key West that had to move because they wanted to expand, and they just couldn't do it down here.
Yeah, it's tough.
And all of a sudden, we were there every day. We were like, oh, we tried the whole menu. We tried everything. They were great, man. You definitely
That's where you got to go. That's
check
where it started from, though. People that know your name, the passion, the camaraderie, and that's where I was like, okay, football, great. We'll use that. Like even Joe in the beginning is like, where does football fit in here? I'm like, it will fit in.
it
Joe.
will. It always will.
I did like football breakdowns. I had my own show, and it kind of fed into it. But the bars and restaurants, we would talk a little bit about football, but it's not about that. So.
Well, how tight are you right now?
We're good.
You're good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'll tell you what. You tell me when you got to go. We'll just roll with it because.
Yeah, we'll go 10 minutes.
All right, cool.
I was late, so we got.
I told you owe me 10 minutes.
I do. I
Yeah,
need 10.
It's fine. Well, it'll be 10 minutes. And then
I was
you're
on
gonna be
Key West time.
naturally. And we're
When you
gonna
have
be,
a-
we're
when
going to be on Key West time now, so it'll be like a half hour when we're done.
When you have a 6-month-old, you're definitely on Key West time.
No, for sure. And
Yeah.
it's so awesome. But back to the podcast, it's so cool to see you and Joe doing this because it's like talking about a mesh of.
I met him here because I remember you're doing a Rock the Shop,
Yeah.
and I was standing back here.
That was a good one.
This goes
who
back-
were you there for? Do you remember who it was?
Lampson,
Jason Lampson.
Jason,
Yeah.
was tremendous.
Awesome.
That was one of the coolest experiences. I was sitting right there,
Yeah.
and
We're going to get it going again. I'm very excited for it.
that was incredible. That was a moving experience for me. And then I was here for Reggae Lou, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like late February. You guys were doing them, and I was still in town.
Yeah.
And but I remember standing back here, and I knew Joe because he would hang at Shots and Giggles on like football Sundays a little bit, just touch points. Hello, how are
Goddamn
you?
Raiders fan.
Yeah, Raiders fan.
Raiders fan.
Yeah, he's struggling. Feel bad for him, but they hired the right coach for sure. Pete will do a great job.
I hope so.
So I saw him running around like a nut. I'm like, what? Damn, Joe's serious. You know Joe. He's not like a normal. He's checking audio. He's checking this.
So I don't want to interrupt this, but
Yeah.
my favorite thing about Joe ever, I'll never forget this. Reggae Rise Up, when we saw you last year, when we were doing a bunch of filming, we had passes to go take videos of the bands that were involved. Normally, crew guys wear a black shirt, black hat, and blend in. Joe has got one of our Coral Reefer hats on, which is orange and like turquoise.
Yep.
With a bright orange Lost Boy on it, a tie-dye T-shirt that
yeah.
says "Assholes Live Forever" in giant print across
He's got
the back,
the hair out the back,
ponytail,
the van kicks,
and he is on stage with the biggest bands in the reggae industry. And it was, at first he goes, "Hey, can I get a production T-shirt because I want to fit in." And our friends at Sugar Shack who helped kind of put
They're
they're
so
awesome,
good.
and they were the ones that kind of boosted us up to try to do this Rock on the Shop thing, and it's been awesome. He's like, hey, you got a production shirt because I feel awkward being in all this bright stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't think we have, like, they're just, they had their crew and that was it. And, and he goes, all right, so we got our passes. He is up on stage with Slightly Stupid, Revolution, Yellow Wolf, all these boys. And he has got the brightest shit on ever and screaming, assholes live forever on the back.
You got to move back to Key West, Joe. You're built for this place.
No shit he is. I know. He needs to come back. But I don't want to take him away from you. But the coolest thing was after day one, that became his calling card. Everyone was looking around going, who's that guy? What is he doing?
He's talented, man.
He is wildly talented.
Sorry, he does a great job for us. We work great together.
You stole him. You fucking stole him.
I did not steal him.
Yeah.
Georgian and Luke are tremendous. They do a great job for us, too. They did the initial shootings down here. We did some touch-up work with Joe. Greg Lassick, who does some stuff for us, too, that Joe brought on, is tremendous.
Sounds so familiar.
Greg Lassick. He's Joe's, right-hand man with all, production and video editing and does a great job for us. Yeah. But Joe is, typical Jersey, right to the point.
Oh, he's no bullshit.
He's great.
And that's one of my favorite things. I'm very much the tall, quiet guy in the back of the corner of the room. Yeah, you're pretty fucking
I'm not
close.
that.
Yeah, you're pretty close.
I'm not the quiet guy in the back of the room, though. I'm down. I guess I am. I'm more like...
You observe. Well, this is where
I'm in the middle.
I observe, and then I'll go kind of meander and do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Joe is so in your face up front, and it's awesome, and it's a perfect balance, I think, for somebody like yourself and somebody like me, and then to have him kind of with it, where he's just like, no, this is what we're doing, this is what we're talking about, this is what we got to do. It's such a cool thing to have him there.
He's a pro. He's been great for us. He
used to work for NFL before.
Yes.
You guys knew each other.
Yes. So he's always bringing these ideas.
And MLB. And
no doubt. And that's why I'm like, I feel bad because he's joining us at a different time. And I'm like, Joe, I'm not pivoting away from it, but I'm kind of slowing it down because I'm trying to figure out what the coaching world is going to bring. And then what's food, drinks, football? How's that going to fit in? Is that going to whittle away? How's it going to work? So I'm like, Joe's like, let's do this. Let's go to these tailgates. I'm like, Joe's got great ideas. I'm like, Joe, these are great ideas, but I got to land a job first, and we'll see. For me, I would love to.
I think that there's going to be a way.
There'll be a way.
There's going to be a really awesome avenue that opens itself up when you do get put in that position.
Yep.
Because just like you said, 2017, you were probably one of the first NFL players that was sitting there hosting a podcast.
Yep. The biggest thing, I wasn't a Pro Bowler. I wasn't an All-Pro, and that hurts you now in this world. And those guys deserve it. I realized I read the writing on the wall, and I have a Sirius XM show for an hour once a week.
With that.
And
no, I mean,
I'll do
another
one.
Modelo.
Yeah, I'll do another Modelo. That'd be great.
Hey, oh yeah.
Oh, thanks.
We'll go grab one of them.
But
Want to grab me one too, there, Dirty? Oh, awesome, even better.
I think for me, it was you're not a Pro Bowler, you're not an All-Pro. You have to find a way to create some more leverage for yourself.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to get into coaching. This is a side note. Media is a side note. I'm a coach at heart, so I am. I've coached my current teammates, former teammates, coaches, mentor, everybody. Mentor kids. I love it. That's where I get juice from. But for me, it was, how can I create some more leverage for my next life to be around my kids? It's okay, I can coach for the next 20 years. That's the hardest thing as a player.
Dude, smart man.
So now you're player, coach, scout, you have a little more leverage.
Smart man, though.
This is a smarter man. Beer, ice.
Oh, what a guy. What a guy. Look at that. A few icy cubes here. A couple of new beers.
Thank you, guys.
You give me a 5-minute heads up when you got to go, because I there's a couple things I would love to just kind of pick your brain about.
Got 7 minutes, so 55.
All right, cool.
Let me text my wife live on camera here. How we doing?
Just tell her that your wonderful friend Matt says we need another half hour, because I feel like we got a good thing going.
You know what's funny is, again, we're adjusting to having the kid and all, and
it's got to be a big adjustment. I mean, really,
it's definitely different, especially down here. But it's great. We have a dinner. We just do early dinners. It's actually kind of nice. We do dinner at 5 o'clock. By the time you eat, it's not camp,
bro.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's nice. And you get in everywhere, and you sit down and happy hour eat, and you're in bed by 10. But unless you're watching Night Agent, then you're like me, up till 12 o'clock binge watching. That's a different story. Great show. I'm a mess with my sleep now because of it. Today was we have a bunch of friends coming into town. I'm gonna do the show. Her and I were gonna get a bite to eat. And then my brother and Danny showed up, his boyfriend, and then our 4 friends from Baltimore showed up, and then our 2 friends flew in from Philly. They showed up. So then it was I walked out. When I sat down and was kind of hanging out in the beginning, I'm like, I'm gonna leave early. see if I can, sorry, sweetie, swing in the Parrot, maybe get popcorn for dinner and have a beer and watch the game.
That sounds great.
Well, that was the plan the whole time. And then I left. There was like 15 people at our house, which back in the day, it'd be 15 of us at a bar. I'd be like, see you, I'm out of here. So that's how life's changed a little bit. So I got 5 minutes. What do you got?
It's not a bad thing. Well, so if we got 5 minutes, last time we talked about this when I was on your podcast is about Super Bowl predictions and also the because as I've told you before, not saying I'm a conspiracy theorist, but
although you're all the flags bother you.
Listen, man,
I made a statement about this at
I know.
camp.
Well, we talked
in front of the
about
entire
it before.
camp.
I get it, and I've listened to so many different sides of it. I'm not saying that there, as Justin and I talked about last week, you can't deny good football, period. But it's been so odd. It's been on everybody's mind that it feels like things are going one way. And maybe it's not true. Maybe it's just, I always compare it to this. Shark attacks are so much more prevalent now. Well, it's probably because everybody's got a fucking camera in their hand.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's prevalent because it's put in your face, and we know how social media works and comments and this and that and whatever.
I think people too are shark attack situation. They're less socially aware too in the water. I would assume.
So I've got to ask you though, especially after like Kelsey took some serious personal offense to all of it. Mahomes kind of sidestepped it all.
Yeah, it's all BS.
Well, I'm just curious because
as a player, I'll be honest with you. You know what I think? I don't even pay attention to it.
No,
I don't. Like, you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
From a player's perspective.
Well, for sure.
I think one person one time was like, playing in Jerry's World this week, make sure you're on your P's and Q's. And I was like, They're like, Jerry. I was like, that's interesting. They're like, Jerry meets with Fox before the season and picks the games he wants.
I think the biggest like outliers to me
I never heard it.
Yeah,
I never heard it in our circles. It doesn't bother me. Like, I think it's a media thing. Like, there always has to be something to talk about in politics. God forbid, and we won't talk about that here.
No,
but
there's
like
2 rules on this podcast:
yeah.
no politics, no religion.
Yeah. But like, there's always it's a machine. Politics is a machine. Sports is a machine.
Yep.
There has to be something to talk about. The Kelsey Taylor Swift thing, like that's so bad. Like, okay, wait, so he dates a girl who's the #1, literally, artist in the world, one of them, and like we're gonna hate the guy. But if like that was one of our boys, if that was one of your boys,
agreed. But like,
But is it his fault that Fox and CBS shoot to her every time? That's not his fault.
No,
he's
it's definitely not his fault.
It's like he's 35 years old and playing like a Hall of Famer still. Insane. He can't even run as fast, and he's dogging teams.
Coming from another tight end. I mean, like know this. You know this
so
position.
like I think what happens in our world is we read quick, we see some things, and then we make an opinion instead of really watching. It's like, okay, the guy had a great year. He had his typical year. He balled out in the playoffs. He's going to ball out in the Super Bowl. You know he is. No matter who guards him. They can't. The Eagles' #1 situation is going to be don't let 87 beat us, 100%. And then on the other side, it's going to be don't let 26 beat us.
Yeah.
You know, Saquon Barkley. So, and they're going to force Jalen Hurts to make plays and win one-on-one battles and force him to make one-on-one throws. They're going to bring a lot of pressure. It's going to be a tough day for Jalen. So my point to all of it is like, keep the main thing the main thing. The guy's a Hall of Famer. The guy's continuing to play like a Hall of Famer. He dates the #1 singer in the world. Like, #1.
It's a G. I mean,
so that's baller.
You can't
like,
knock
from a player to player.
Yeah.
Like, you would just be like, holy cow, this guy's the man. So there's that. I think the media and the TV networks shove it in your face on purpose. But if they didn't shoot to her in the box, it would never be a thing. If they didn't show her walking in the stadium, it would never be a thing. He has nothing to do with it.
I can't help it. Like, you know, in my brain, the devil's advocate sitting there going, yeah, as a business in the NFL, which is sports entertainment at a certain point, like, yeah, that's a fucking winning. That's a winning combo.
It'd be like you not showing your logo.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, what? We're not going to show the fact that we put, BVI on the side and then the Conquer Republic flag on the side.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
You're like, no, it's not our main thing, but it's
prevalent. It's there. It's there.
It's there.
It's such.
I try to remove it. I try to encourage fans to remove emotion. That was my thought on Washington this year, the Commanders.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're gonna bring in arguably the best quarterback. We're gonna bring in Dan Quinn, who's a builder. We're gonna bring in the GM. We're gonna bring in a new owner who's done a great job with the Sixers and the Devils. And then we're gonna sign Dante Fowler, Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, Allegretti, Tyler Biotic, Eckler at running back, Jeremy Chin.
Big moves.
You're like, wow, it's a lot of really good players on one-year deals. Like, they're not going to be the Cowboys or the Giants.
Yeah.
They're going to be better than you think. So remove the emotion. That's what I tell fans. I try to remove the emotion for this game too. I'll give my opinion when you ask for it. But remove the emotion. Focus on the main thing. The Celtics situation, the Chiefs situation. You're a New England guy. The Patriots got calls.
I'm a Jets fan, dude. Don't you
But I know, but you understand.
I get it. No, I see it. I see it on a regular basis. I remember
it doesn't bother me. I never
Yeah.
noticed it. I'll be honest with you. Like, I watch every game and I'm like, okay, there's some calls that bounce their way, but there's also times where like a guy's getting maliciously held and they're not throwing it, and it's against it. It'd be for the other team.
For the other team.
So it equals out, and it's another narrative we talked about, because if it wasn't there and Taylor Swift wasn't there, what would there be?
That's the sports entertainment.
Jason's not there anymore. It's not Travis versus Jason. It's Taylor Swift. It's the flag. It's the expansion of 18 games. It's the
this is why I brought it up with you, because it's so cool to get that aspect from somebody that has been there and done it and whatnot. So last question I got for you then.
No, we're good. I got another 5, but yeah.
Look at that. We're just gonna keep cruising. Another 5, another 5, another 5, another 5. All right. So since we got a couple minutes, it's a weird thing. It's obviously it's enough in the media and it's enough in the NFL. They're changing rules. I mean, the roughing the passer. At the end, like being able to review a roughing the passer call, and I also see both.
I mean, I'm texting on the pod, but I'm seeing a kid.
We don't give a shit here. This is what we do.
I'm trying
to drag more time out.
I'm trying to find a way to stay out.
Yeah, you figure it out. You want me to call her? I'll call.
No, she's doing great. I'm just trying to be somewhat respectful of the situation, but continue. Sorry.
No, well, you are. You've been. I mean. All we know is that you were out for the onesie bar crawl because you needed to keep the streak going.
Hold up again, by the way.
And that's it.
I was there.
I know, that's
I
it
held
though.
her up in the middle of the hand street.
You did a full-blown Simba in the middle of
not pictures. It's not 2025. You don't have to take pictures.
No, whatever, but you did it.
But continue.
You were there.
Saga.
All right, going back to what I was saying before.
So we buried the Chiefs, Jason Kelsey, flags. Yeah. I think it's overhyped.
Do you?
I do. I think it's...
But somebody made a great point about saying this. Was it Adam Schefter maybe? Again, misinformation. As according to last week, the Browns made the fucking playoffs this year. So don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it was Adam Schefter that said this year it was a kind of a random comparison saying the fact that the NFL is changing rules about roughing the passer calls being reviewable compared to LeBron James changing rules in the NBA, and it was a rough comparison to great athletes in their field.
They had power.
They got power.
If Mahomes not standing upright, and people that hate the roughing passer calls.
God, there's the one though that fucking drives me crazy where he was out of bounds. It was just this little tiny
Don't touch him.
Yeah, but come on, man, it's the NFL. Troy Aikman is sitting there calling these games.
Troy Aikman played in the 90s.
Yeah, I know.
That's like the guys
it was wonderful.
That called the NHL days. Why aren't they fighting anymore? Listen,
come on, though.
Hey, Troy.
He was out of bounds. It was so nothing. It was like a little tiny shove.
I agree.
And he flopped.
Here's the thing. The rules are clearer than they ever been. Don't touch the quarterback. And if you're going to sack him, don't fall on him. Roll off him. Don't crack his ribs. Don't. Tony Romo's career probably could have been a borderline Hall of Famer. He had 4 collarbone surgeries, whatever he had. So at the end of the day, for me, it's if these quarterbacks aren't upright, Troy Aikman doesn't make $1 million a game. He makes 17. I think he makes 17 million a year. So he calls 17 games. So if Colin Thompson's playing tight end and starting tight end instead of Travis Kelsey, you got a problem. You got a financial issue for the league. Much as I want to be a starter and think I could have been and should have been, I'm also not naive. I understand that guy's a Hall of Famer. I'm not. So, at the end of the day, your best players need to be upright in the biggest moments for most people to tune in and pay the bills of everybody else who walks in there and complains and whatever. So, I think when guys say that, they speak out of both sides of their mouths, because if this is Carson Wentz versus Kenny Pickett, what are the views? They're not the same. And at the end of the day, it is an entertainment business. If you look up NFL,
No,
it's
like as I said, sports entertainment.
So
That's
to
what
keep
it
the
is.
quarterbacks upright, you can hit everybody else. I think you make everything reviewable, and if you can't figure it out in 10 seconds,
Stands.
the call stands.
Yeah. It's
Maybe
such
15.
It's such an interesting concept though, because it's I mean the views but this year, like the Super Bowl tickets are far less than they've been in the past decade.
Yeah. They always start out high and they come crashing down. I think
But
Super Bowl
they
tickets
already
are
started out low.
New Orleans is not the best city for it. Separate of what happened.
True.
New Orleans is a tough city for it. It's not easy to get to. If you play in Miami, you can fly into West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, Key West.
Yeah.
It's tough. Now, Dunzo.
All right.
All right, we're done.
Hey, you know what? We did our thing.
But yeah.
I'm so happy you made it work. We've been dealing with our little first episode errors, here and
Whatever.
there. But
This is great.
yeah, dude,
Glad.
thanks so much for coming
Cheers.
out. So last question I got for you, because we still got one rolling anyways. Prediction Super Bowl. Don't hear it. Straight up. I know you're.
I think the Eagles win.
I mean, I fucking hope they do too.
I think the Eagles win. I think they've had, for this reason and this reason only, I think Kansas City had a lot of really close games and they ought to win those close games, but I think Saquon Barkley is a difference maker because he's going to force the Chiefs to play a certain way defensively. And I think Jalen Hurts is actually going to have a great game, and I think he's going to complete some deep passes to A.J. Brown and those guys because the safeties won't be there because the safeties have to come up and play the run. So for that, I think Saquon will have a decent game number-wise. Won't be crazy, but Chiefs are going to stop him and make Jalen make big-time throws to win the game, and I think that guy is a guy to bet on. He's a dog, and mentally at another place than a lot of players. This guy's a grinder, been through a lot of stuff, so I think the Eagles get him.
I hope so. Dude.
But I also root for.
I hope for a good game.
I root for three-peats too because
it hasn't been done.
It's so impressive to win. I won the games I won in the NFL, no more than 6 in 3 years. So it's hard to do. It's hard to win like 2 games in a row, let alone 3 championships in a row. So I want both teams to win. Honestly, I know it sounds soft, but at the end of the day, I never make predictions, but this year I will, and I think Eagles will go.
Okay, I love hearing it, dude. Thanks so much, man. I'm so happy we were able to
Appreciate
do
you.
this. Fantastic. Thanks for the extra few minutes.
No problem.
Love it, dude. Love it.
Keep going with that.